So this is Tomato Way, and by the time this video gets to you, it has been refunded on Steam. It's a brand new game on Steam. It's just got on, hot off the green light skittle. It's got very positive reviews. Okay, obviously it's a really good game. I'm gonna explain some of the things that are really awesome about this game, so that you know exactly why you should get it. First off, if you have a controller, I recommend taking it out of your computer because this is what happened when I tried to start the game with the controller plugged in. Mind, the controller doesn't actually work. You can't play the game using a controller. But if the controller is plugged in and you try to play episode 1, the screen just spins to the left and all the text overlaps, and you have to quit the entire game, unplug the controller, and restart. Amazing. The playable character is a tomato whose name is Tomat or Tomate. It could even be Tomate, I don't know. The entire game is voiced in Hungarian, but thankfully we get the privilege of reading the script in English on the bottom left in Comic Sans. The game contains some memorable sequences of dialogue like, "Your name Tomat, people pay money for us kill you," and "Where is Sheriff?" The plot is non-existent, literally. There's a few lines of dialogue, but there's absolutely no cohesion between them. The developer tried the age-old tactic of hiding the awful frame rate with motion blur, but the motion blur looks even worse than the frame rate. It's like it's running at a lower frame rate than the game, and it just looks jarring and unnatural. That's probably the worst part of the game, actually, is the frame rate. Everything else is bad, but it's not nearly as bad as the frame rate. The frame rate is unbelievable. Speaking of graphics, the game is fucking hideous. It's one of the ugliest games I've ever played, and compounded with the hideous frame rate, it's pretty much unplayable for more than like 15 minutes at a time. It actually hurts your eyes. The FOV is also egregious, and there's no adjustment for it. In fact, there's no adjustment for any setting in the game. You literally cannot change any setting, which is unfortunate because the mouse sensitivity in this game is unbelievable. I can make 8 rotations from one end of my mouse pad to the other, no problem. And I'm playing on a pretty low DPI, so if people are playing above 1000 DPI, I mean, some people max their mice out, you're going to be making like 200 rotations from one end to the other. I mean, it's a big problem. It's supposed to be a slasher game, but the combat is hilarious. For most enemies, you will never get hit as long as you circle strafe. It's pretty much impossible. The pathfinding can't really hit you if you go in a circle. The optimum strategy is to just circle around the enemies and spam the left mouse button as fast as possible. I was actually considering setting a macro up for about 200 clicks per second on my mouse and just blitzing through the entire game. There is one enemy that I had trouble with, and that's the carrot that tries to attack you with what appears to be a spiky dick. He does kind of a humping animation and charges towards you, and I've kind of found him to be ridiculous. I mean, you can see him in this video a little bit earlier on it. He kills me like 4 or 5 times. Yeah. The story mode of the game is about 15 minutes long. The only reason it took me about an hour to do it was because of bugs that forced me to quit the entire game and restart, and at one point, you follow a path down to free one of the captured cherries, and I freed him, and he blocked the entrance to the next room, and I couldn't get past him. So that took another, like, 15 minutes of time that I could have been spent rushing through the awful story. There's about 4 veggies in the game. There was, like, one I could figure out, and that was a garlic clove, I believe, or an onion. Then there was a cucumber that attacks you with an Uzi, and then when that fails, he kind of flails around and blows up. Those are the 2 that I know. There's a few others that I have no idea, like right there. I don't know what those are supposed to be. A friend told me that they were watermelon, but that's a pretty shit watermelon. It looks more like a tick to me, but obviously those aren't veggies, so it wouldn't really fit in with the game. If someone can explain to me what the hell those things are, that would be incredible. The game has one of the most hilarious opening fights of any game I've ever played. I'll just show it right here. It immediately runs at about 15 frames a second in this room. I believe it's all the animations of the blood falling. Very poorly optimized, as you can see. Thankfully, this is on my third playthrough of the campaign, so I'd figured out the optimum strategy of circle and spam. That got me through this fight pretty quick. As you can see, I'm just spinning the mouse all over the place and spamming. That's, of course, the optimum strategy. There are some of the tick melons right there. And then there's just this weird blob over there. I have no idea what that's supposed to be. It just kind of appears. I think it might be a graphical glitch. Whenever I walk through it, my frame rate drops. So, yeah, it's a little questionable. I am excited for episode 2 and also for the funds to go back in my Steam wallet where they belong. So, yeah, we'll see how this game goes.